Okay, Johan, we are almost exactly on the starting point. And just tell us, what exactly do you do at the starting point before the green lights disappear?
Well, the start is very important here in Riga. It's quite high grip on the starting line, so it's very important to have a good reaction because the cars are moving very quickly. So basically you just hopefully have the right settings and then you focus on the light, try to get a good getaway, and then we're starting on second gear and we shift to fourth. We stay on fourth and we almost hit the limiter on fourth gear. And then, yeah, you just check left and right and hopefully you are first and can brake late into the first corner.
Ready, steady, go!
Too high gear!
So we're approaching the turn number 1. I think it's one of the most important turns.
Yeah, it's important and it's tricky because often the outside line wants to cut back in and if you're on the inside, you have the concrete wall on the inside, so you have to try to avoid that. If I'm starting on slot 1, and let's say you start on slot 5. If the guys on second, third and fourth are not doing so good start, which means you have a free track to cut back in, then it's very dangerous for the slot number 1, for the guy from slot number 5 to be able to carry the speed around. And then in the end, when we arrive here, you will have the inside and the benefit of track position. Even if you are starting in slot 5, you can still take the start. You always have the chance, either wherever you stand on the starting line. Even if you have slot 1, you have to defend your position very well. So you reach 5th gear before turn 3, so it's very important to get a good exit here and try to let the car free and be as free and accelerate as good as possible.
Do you use some curbs in the outside?
Here you try to avoid the curbs. You don't like to be too far out because you don't like to touch the curb and you don't like to travel too long, so you like to cut the distance of the track a bit. This corner is all about to try to keep the mid corner speed up, brake late, get in, and then try to get the steering wheel back straight to accelerate again for turn 5.
It becomes tightens.
Yeah.
So it tightens actually.
Yeah, the track is coming back towards you a bit, so it looks quite open when you enter. You come in quite high speed, you see that the corner is quite open, but then actually the track is coming back.
And what about the curb over here?
Yeah, this one you can actually use. So either you go to the white line, or if you have to use the curb, you can just pop 2 wheels on the curb and you will not lose any traction. So you just try to open the corner as much as possible and just let the car free. Into this corner, it's quite a long entry. So you try to carry a bit of wider line and carry as much speed as possible all the way until when you start to rotate the car. And then you try to hit your apex somewhere here. As soon as it stops sliding, you try to go back on power to accelerate for the next corner on the loose surface.
I mean, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Don't you get any damages for the car?
Yeah, here you just try to, you can scratch it with the bumper, is okay, but don't hit it, because if you hit it too hard, if you have an open wheel and your wheel will climb this one, it's very easy to roll it.
Yeah.
So it climbs up and you roll the car. This small kink here used to be flat, so you have to try to stay as close as you can to the barrier in T6. You have to brake a little bit before to be able to make the corner afterwards. The best is to land a little bit with the nose and then the rear, like that. You always try to just stay on the clear line because it's quite slippery on the outside, so there is only one line to travel. This is the best place to be, on the clean line. So you try to time the jump. As soon as you land, you should fly long enough to just hit the brakes immediately. And this corner is quite tricky. You have to try to just make this corner like a V. So you carry as much speed as you can in. You try to make the rotation of the car as quick as possible. With high speed in, try to rotate quickly and then get back on the power. When you enter this corner, the sharp left, you need to have the information from your spotter if you should joker or not. We
have both jumps on the main track and on the joker lap.
Yeah, so basically here, first of the tactics, you don't like to follow as many guys as it is in front of us here on the joker, because that's not a good tactic. So, but yeah, basically here the jump is completely flat. You just keep full throttle. It's quite soft landing. It's not a big jump. But on other tracks like Höljes has a quite harsh jump where you have to, quite tighten your body, tension your muscles before the landing. It's very important as a driver during a weekend to try to relax and sit relaxed in the car, because when you are relaxed, you always feel much better the movement on the car and if it's sliding or not sliding. And
this is a bit smaller jump than the first one on the main track, right?
yeah, it is. So yeah, you just keep full throttle. You land basically just after the gravel swap over. And then from there on, you have to hit the brakes very quickly, because here you just try to stay as close as possible to the barrier to prepare the two left corners straight after. In Riga you have the jump, you have turn 2, you have turn 3, you have turn 4.
Yeah.
So it's more time to gain and lose in the Joker lap. If you emerge at the same time as the guy on the standard lap, you don't see him here because he will be behind you. So when you enter on the Joker last corner, it's very difficult to know how close is the guy on the outside, and should you go out to cover him, or should you stay on the inside to cover him to not do the cutback. So it's very important to get the information from your spotter to tell you if you cover inside, cover outside, it will be tight, you are free, depends on how close the guy on the outside is. It's not over until you really cross the finish line. Even if you enter with a big gap, if you do a small mistake in the Joker lap, you can lose a lot of time. So it's not over until it's over here in Riga.
What about the aerodynamic? Does they do a big impact in the corners or in the jumps?
No, not a lot. In rallycross, the speeds are quite low. What is most important is to be able to get a lot of fresh air into your intercooler and the cooling of the car to keep it as cool as possible, to have good horsepower. But otherwise, the aerodynamics is not very important.
Johan, who will be first from us in the finish line?
I think it's me.
You?
Yeah.
I challenge you.
Okay.
Okay. Oh.